The streets of Palo Alto buzzed with the characteristic energy of Silicon Valley, a place where dreams were forged, fortunes were built, and, for some, everything could crumble just as swiftly. It was a late afternoon, and the sun hung low in the sky, casting a golden glow over the polished glass facades of towering tech giants that lined the bustling streets. The air was thick with ambition, an almost tangible electric hum of innovation that defined the heart of the technology capital of the world. Against this backdrop, the hum of a sleek black SUV drew the attention of passers-by. It pulled up in front of the Tesla Tech Hub, a beacon of modernity and innovation, its reflective surface gleaming under the sun. The vehicle's arrival was unassuming but precise, an embodiment of Silicon Valley's ethos of efficiency. The driver stepped out with practiced precision, circling the car to open the door for its sole passenger. Emerging from the vehicle with a brisk, purposeful energy was none other than Elon Musk, the visionary leader behind Tesla and SpaceX. Dressed in his signature style, a simple blazer paired with jeans, Musk exuded an air of unassuming confidence. His demeanor spoke volumes, reflecting the mindset of a man who had everything to achieve and little left to prove. The Tesla Tech Hub stood before him, a sleek architectural marvel, embodying the company's cutting-edge philosophy. The building's design was as forward-thinking as the innovations conceived within its walls. Glass and steel blended seamlessly to create a space that was both functional and aspirational. This was not just a workplace, but a symbol of Tesla's commitment to shaping a sustainable future. As Elon adjusted the strap of his leather bag over his shoulder, his focus sharpened. His mind was already racing ahead to the meeting waiting inside a critical brainstorming session, poised to pave the way for the next breakthrough in sustainable energy or transportation. Every step he took carried the weight of his relentless drive to push boundaries and redefine possibilities. The world around him seemed to blur as his thoughts churned with possibilities. Yet, even in his intense focus, Elon's observational acuity remained intact. It was this sharpness that caused his gaze to pause momentarily on a figure sitting by the curb, just off the polished sidewalk. At first glance, it seemed like nothing out of the ordinary in Palo Alto, a place where the stark contrast between thriving innovation and unrelenting struggle was ever present. But this particular figure didn't belong in the usual milieu of fans, journalists, or protesters who often lingered near the Tesla hub. The man's worn clothes, slouched posture, and the frayed cardboard sign in his hands marked a jarring juxtaposition to the polished environment. Yet something about him seemed faintly familiar, tugging at Elon's memory. This moment, seemingly incidental, would soon reveal a deeper story, a narrative interwoven with Tesla's history and the lives of those who had once contributed to its groundbreaking journey. As Elon Musk adjusted the strap of his leather bag and prepared to stride into the Tesla Tech Hub, a figure on the curb caught his eye. At first glance, the man seemed like any other person who occasionally lingered near the bustling headquarters, perhaps a fan hoping for a glimpse of the iconic innovator, a journalist chasing a story, or even a protester raising a voice against the industry's latest controversy. But something about this man was different. His clothes were worn and frayed, a sharp contrast to the polished environment of Silicon Valley. His shoulders sagged under an invisible weight, and his face bore the heavy lines of exhaustion. In his hands, he held a piece of cardboard with the simple, heartbreaking message, "Will code for food." Elon hesitated. Homelessness, while not uncommon in the area, was often a stark reminder of the harsh disparities that existed even in the world's wealthiest tech hub. Most days, he might have walked past such a scene, his focus firmly on the challenges and opportunities ahead. But today was different. Something about the man's face struck a chord, a faint flicker of recognition he couldn't quite place. Slowing his steps, Elon's eyes scanned the man's features more closely. There was a nagging familiarity, a sense that this was no stranger. The man's tired eyes, dulled by hardship, had once burned with passion and brilliance. Then it clicked. "Sam?" Elon said aloud, the name escaping his lips before he could think twice. The man's head jerked up, his weary eyes meeting Elon's. A fleeting mix of emotions, confusion, recognition, and shame washed over his face. "Mr. Musk?" he murmured, his voice barely audible. Elon took a step closer, the bustling world around him fading into the background. This wasn't just a chance encounter with a stranger. It was someone he knew, someone who had once been part of Tesla's groundbreaking journey. "Sam Yates," Elon said, the name rolling out with certainty now. Memories flooded back late nights during the turbulent development of the Model X, brainstorming sessions filled with breakthroughs and frustrations, and a pivotal moment when Sam had cracked a software problem that had stumped the entire team. Sam wasn't just another engineer. He had been one of the standouts, a brilliant mind who had left a mark on Tesla's history. But now, here he was, sitting on a curb with nothing but a battered sign and the weight of the world on his shoulders. The contrast was jarring, almost surreal. "What happened?" Elon asked, his tone softer, layered with genuine concern. Sam hesitated, adjusting his sign and avoiding Elon's gaze. His movements were sluggish, his energy depleted. "It's a long story," he finally said, his voice tinged with bitterness. "Probably not one you've got time to hear." "Try me," Elon replied, crouching slightly to meet Sam's eyes. And so, on that bustling sidewalk in the heart of Silicon Valley, began an exchange that would change both their lives. As the sleek SUV hummed along the streets of Palo Alto, Elon Musk sat beside Sam Yates, the once brilliant engineer who now appeared a shadow of his former self. Elon's characteristic focus was entirely on Sam, his phone untouched, his demeanor uncharacteristically subdued. After a moment of silence, he turned to Sam, his tone gentle yet probing. "So, what happened, Sam? Where did it all go wrong?" Sam let out a heavy sigh, his shoulders slumping further under the weight of the question. "It wasn't just one thing, Elon," he began, his voice low and steady. "It was everything." Sam's eyes were fixed on the scenery outside, but his mind was far away, replaying the series of events that had brought him to this point. "It started with my wife, Emily," he said, his voice cracking slightly as he spoke her name. "She was everything to me. Back when I was at Tesla, she was my rock, the one who kept me grounded when the stress got too much." Elon nodded, remembering the way Sam used to mention Emily during late-night brainstorming sessions. Her name always brought a smile to his face, a lightness that cut through the intensity of their work. Sam swallowed hard and continued. "She got sick. Breast cancer. By the time we caught it, it was already late stage." His voice faltered, and he ran a hand through his disheveled. "I took time off to be with her, thinking I could juggle her treatments and work. But it didn't work out that way." Elon listened intently, his expression softening as the weight of Sam's words settled. "She passed away a year later," Sam said, his voice barely above a whisper. "And after that, I wasn't the same. I couldn't focus. I couldn't bring myself to go back to Tesla, knowing how much of my life there was tied to her. So, I left quiet." The memory of Sam's sudden departure resurfaced in Elon's mind. It had been unexpected, but in the whirlwind of Tesla's operations, the reasons behind it had been lost in the Now the full picture was coming into focus. "And then the bills started piling up," Sam continued, his voice bitter with the memory. "Medical expenses, mortgage payments. I tried to hold on, but everything spiraled out of control. I burned through savings, maxed out credit cards, and when the house was gone, so was I." He paused, staring down at his hands, his voice dropping to a whisper. "You don't realize how quickly you can lose everything until it happens." Elon frowned. "Why didn't you reach out to me? To anyone?" Sam shook his head, his expression a mix of pride and shame. "Pride maybe, but mostly shame. I didn't want anyone to see me like this, especially not." The SUV came to a stop, but the gravity of Sam's story lingered in the air. Elon's resolve hardened. "You are not alone in this, Sam," he said firmly. "And it's not over. You can come back from." Sam glanced at him, a flicker of hope in his eyes, though doubt still lingered. For the first time in years, someone was offering him more than pity. They were offering him a lifeline.